Yo, there was a great Chevy truck out here earlier. It was the Duramax, the good one, but it left. This is at Laredo Taco Company. This is the this is Edinburgh, just north of Farr, and they don't have no energy drinks down here. Not the good ones. Technically, this one's a Stripes. The other one I stopped at was a 7-Eleven. I've been to 5 7-Elevens in Texas that do not have the $1 first form. Very upset about that. I was kind of glad to see that he started the promotion because I've been buying like 13 of them. And just like, you know, my arm was completely full, both arms full. And when I find them, just because I need a bunch of them because I can't find them. And then people will be like, dang, are they that good? I was like, man, these are best ever. And I'll give one away. Here, try one, you know. And then Andy started doing the same thing, so it's like, that's really good. It actually works. Anyway, we're over here. We're representing. That ain't the coolest truck in the world, don't get me wrong. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. So, I got the wrong phone. The other phone's got it through the other channel. Just talked to somebody. I put the contents of the talk on the other phone. Oh man. Oh, that's much quieter, isn't it? See how much quieter it is? Look at that, isn't that neat? That's just a phone cord, but it looks cool. It helps at night too with the red light. You can keep your peripheral vision. Now we got the DAF on the yard, so I don't get by the DAF here, but I might have to. Cause she low. It's actually showing more now than when I stopped though. So if you're out here trucking and you get nervous about your instrumentation, man, a gauge like that probably actually is the oil temperature. A gauge like this, yeah, that's suspect. You know what I mean? Because you never really know. I mean, like watch this. Listen. See the delay? And there's no telling how accurate it is. And then like it'll just disappear on you. So don't trust these digital gauges. I mean, they look cool and everything, but you can't really trust them. In my experience. But I have trust issues. I don't trust nothing. So, could be that. That could be a significant part of it. But it's pretty cool to see these things. So, of course, you got your oil temperature over here, say 192. Then when you get over here on this deal here, it's showing similar, about 192. Now the other one, it had other gauges. See how it just got 2 and then it stops? And some of them have screens over here as well, but I like the analog gauges. Here, babe, we got our trailer brake. So I'm doing that with this. So when you grab these, a little pro tip for you, when you get a hold of this, when I'm driving, I'll grab it like this. So I grab it like this. Now I gotta be ready to push back up, because the only reason that you'll use that is to get the trailer straight for sliding around, and then it'll get mad at you up here. Of course, we got the parking brake set because we're parked. And a lot of times, when you're doing your deal, you want to do your pump down test, like this right here. You push your pedal. You hear it? You see your brake application, and then over here you got your air. I don't know why it won't focus. See how the air's going down? Oh, we got low air. Oh, we got low air on both of them. But this, see this? Look, I'll just barely touch it. And generally that's hard to pop out. But see that right there? That would fail the test. Okay, but there's really nothing wrong with it. It's just in the cold weather it'll stick. So that's great. We get to listen to that now. Then you want to air it up. You want to see how long it takes? See how long it takes? That'll tell you how good your compressor's going. Now with this truck, even though we got air to the truck, it should be airing up the trailer right now, but it won't. So you time it, it's gotta get air back in 60 seconds. So it's a flawed design. See? So it's still climbing there. See how it's going so slow? You know it's making more air than that, but it ain't showing it yet on this. See, it's just now starting to climb on the trailer. So the DOT will probably put you out of service for that. And see now it says the transmission's low on air, but look how fast it's climbing now. So see, at first it's trying to put air in 3 different places. So obviously in less than a minute we just aired up the whole thing. However, oh, slick down here. Now listen to this. You hear that? That's the air cycling through the tractor protection valve. That's what this is. It's the air supply to the trailer. You see, it just now stopped. Okay, now we're going to do it again. I'm going to pop it out. You hear the trailer back there. Okay, so see, we're disconnected and it aired itself up to 100. It'll slowly creep up to about 120. Now watch this. See, you're at 103. Now that's the PSI, that's not the volume. Why in the hell it doesn't show the volume of air? I have no idea. We got 57 overlapping gauges. Not a single one is telling me what the volume of air coming out of the air compressor is. I have no idea why they don't have that. But now watch this. Listen to the sound of the air airing versus the gauge, what it says. And you know that bottom gauge is the trailer, right? Where it says number 2, that's the trailer. Now listen to this. Okay, so I could hear through the protection valve the air has wet. So that whole trailer aired up with 5 psi. You see what I'm saying? There's a great difference between the volume of air and the air pressure. So what's going through the trailer and everything else like that? Like how did it air those airbags up that fast? Well, when you get back here and you look at those airbags, they ain't very big around. And it's like, how's an airbag holding up 80,000 pounds? And it's like, man, that sounds crazy. But then when you think about it, it's like, how are the tires holding up 80,000 pounds, right? So it's not. You got 12,000 up front, 34 and 34. And the 34 is split between 2 axles, and those axles have dual tires or a super single. Mine has dual tires because I don't like walking. So if I have a flat, in a pinch, I could just keep driving on the remaining tire beside the flat. Anyway, which is why I recommend a dually truck. If you're going to get a 1-ton pickup, it should always be a dually. There's no excuse for it. Take the bed off, put a flatbed on there. Now, if somebody hits you from the back, it's not going to hurt that flatbed. Yeah, steel versus, plastic and styrofoam. But the stability is one thing. But then I was roofing and I had a flat and I didn't know it. And I drove back from Oklahoma City to Locust Grove. And, I noticed I had a flat on like Wednesday. Well, Saturday, I had to get all the way back so I cashed the check. And I get to the spot, cash the check, go to the tire spot, and turned out it just had a nail in it. And he pulled the nail out and he plugged it. And which I would have done myself had I noticed or whatever. He just aired it up, put the tire back on the truck. It's like, okay, yeah, I just drove for 4 days, 300 miles on a flat tire, and paid this guy $7 to fix it, and now I have a fixed tire. So that was cool. And I said, I will never buy a single wheel 1-ton truck ever again. But the point of what I'm saying is, the axle only has 2 airbags. And once those airbags squish so much, it's got leaf springs. So the airbag is kind of like your suspension for riding smooth. But that airbag isn't actually holding up the truck. The leaf springs are actually holding up the truck. So if you get a chance to look at a bobtail truck, walk over there where the back tires are and look at that setup and everything, and get that thought in your head. And then once you have the opportunity to get you a good actual pickup truck, these half-ton trucks, that's if you got a half-ton mega cab Ram truck, congratulations, you got the top cut off the minivan. That's what that is. These trucks with these giant back seats. My dad he's got a Silverado. He calls it the limousine because he drove with a 2-door all his life, and then now he's got one with 4 doors. Well, he's had it for 15 years probably. But he calls it the limousine, and just because it has a back seat. And then like mine has a back seat, but it's the little back seat because my back seat is actually for tools. The stuff that I don't want anybody to see or think about, that's what goes underneath the back seat. And then what's in the back seat is clutter. And then if I got to get groceries or something like that, I just put them in the back seat or whatever like that. Yeah, I had a toolbox in there, but my wife took it out. And yeah, she didn't realize that toolbox had a bunch of weight and stuff to actually level the truck and flex the suspension a little bit so it was actually smoother. And so I left it out. I guess I need to put it back in there. I feel conviction right now. That's why I'm stuttering. Like, once she took it out, and then I needed something out of the toolbox, it wasn't there, and I was just like, are you serious right now? I left it out. That way it would ride rougher on purpose because I was being passive aggressive. So I feel a lot of conviction right now to put the toolbox back in the truck to increase the capabilities. And yeah, I'm going to have to do that when I get home. And anyways, so if you look at that suspension and the air, you can add airbags to your pickup. You can add airbags to your trailer. And the same way that you do the winch, if you'll do an air compressor beside the winch, and if you'll go look at these, there's a twin tank Honda engine air compressor. There's various manufacturers, but you want the Honda engine because it'll actually start. Those Honda engines are expensive, but if you want secondary power to run a generator, run an air compressor, any of that type of stuff, your Honda motors, like you go to Harbor Freight, you see that Predator motors, Those are knockoff Hondas with ridiculous tolerances, where Honda has excellent tolerance. So they make a good motor. You'll pay about twice the money. Are them little Predator motors good enough for a tiller? Yes. Sure. Okay. I put it on my tiller. I run my tiller for 5 hours, 2 seasons every year, you know. So I might turn at the beginning, I might turn at the end of the growing season. And being in Texas, there's a lot of parts in Texas that have 2 seasons, so that's a thing. And or you might be like me, about to put in a field fence rose garden, you know, pretty for the lady, and then freaking thorns and vines to fight off the, you know, 2-legged varmints and the, you know, potential of a, you know, if a drone tries to climb my fence, a bipedal drone or whatever like that, and then the loose barbed wire, you know, you loop your barbed wire and everything like that, and put your fence up. I'm actually raising my fence up high enough that I can weed under the fence, because I'm not actually fencing in for animals. But I'm going to plant the rose bushes and then the blackberry bushes, and then I'm going to run the tiller for the planting, and then I'm going to dig deeper than the tiller would go, put in the PVC and do the 1/4-inch hoses with the spray nozzle, so it'll spray upon the vines. And luckily it's right by the water tap, so that's cool. And as long as we have water in the system, we will continue to have a living fence. And I've talked with the neighbor and stuff like that, so I'm just going to run it all the way to the neighbor's deal that turns a corner, even though that's not my land. We're just going to go ahead and give his wife a rose garden to look at as well. And then the thought process is we're going to come in my driveway and have 3 spaces to park. So you pull over here to park, and then just past that I'm going to have a little kind of privacy wood deal for Amazon to drop packages or whatever else like that. But you can pull up there and stop and go get your wife a rose on the way home. So that's the plan. Yeah, we're going to build good relationships in the community where you can just stop and get you a rose if you want one, type of deal. I was thinking about having some kind of deal where it's like, you know, the charge for the rose is pour out a piss bottle, but it kind of throws it off. You know what I mean? Like, I want the fertilizer, but then, like, you know, you don't want to run everybody off from taking the roses once they realize that I'm pouring piss all over them on the ground, not the roses. But I've been peeing on my wife's rose bush for going on 11 years, and man, she comes around there, not on the actual roses, but like I just piss right there on the ground beside it, and it fertilizes it. It's one of those creeping kind, so it'll just grow and grow and grow and grow, which is real good. And then we're gonna get some that'll grow, and then some that don't grow so much. And then we're gonna do the blackberries. And I just had a dream about picking blackberries, as a matter of fact. I had some different berries, and then I was going down the trail, cutting through to the other spot where I used to go as a kid, and the bushes were just loaded with blackberries. And I looked down at the berries I had paid for, and they were kind of bushy, so I just dumped them out and started getting the good berries. I was picking them and eating them and stuff. We used to pick a lot of berries when I was a kid. I don't know what happened to all the berries. Like, why is there not berry bushes everywhere like there used to be? We used to go places and stop and we would just pick blackberries on the side of the road for a long time, and we'd pick up the beer cans. You know what I mean? Like, used to, you could pick up enough beer cans to put gas in your motorcycle while you was picking blackberries. I miss the days of drinking and driving. You know, people frown on drinking and driving, but when they made it illegal to drink and drive, like everybody drank like 2 or 3 beers on the way home. And on occasion there was a wreck. And then now that it's illegal, there's more people wrecking now from drinking and driving than there was back then. And that's, nobody ever talks about that. And, volume of people and traffic and all kinds of stuff is a thing. But honestly, I think that people could handle it back then, and now they can't because they're so coddled. The further we get away from freedom, the more that we coddle one another. I seen the deal where the guy asked the chat GDP, he's like, hey, there's somebody knocking on the door. And they're like, well, you could open the door and see who it is. And on the other side's this girl, and she's like, hey, I'm at the door, what do I do? And the chat GTP is like, knock on the door and see if they'll let you in, or whatever. It's like, okay, Google, I asked, it's a lady, she's standing there, what do I do? It's like, ask her to come in and have a seat. Hey, just don't put it on. Like, they're like, hi, how you doing, this, that, and the other. And they're just having this whole interaction. And at every point, they're telling the phone what just happened and asking what to do. And, I can understand, it's like, hey, I want to be an astronaut and I'm freaking 7 years old. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to find instructions or whatever. What does that look like versus I'm 45 years old and I need to know the steps to starting a, international freight company or whatever. You know what I mean? So, I want to, look at the market and say, hey, Chat GTP, give me a list of manufactured goods dominated by China sold in America with no American manufacturing. And just get that list so I know what to do to make stuff. Because all I do is haul stuff. But if I make stuff, then I haul my own stuff and distribute it in the country, I'll be way ahead of the game. That's a solid strategy. And it pretty much doesn't matter what it is. That's a winning strategy if you can do it and outpace the competition. Well, the competition's going away with all this arguing and war and everything else like that. So you look at your list, they make all stuff, and then what is stuff I can get source material here, and then what is this stuff I can get this source material here, I can sell it here, what's the going rate right now, can I do it at cost? You know what I mean? So I get everything lined up and set up, and I'm competing with Chinese slave labor, but they do have the price of shipping and what it takes to do that. So the logistics and stuff like that will bring, and the tariffs will bring their costs up a little bit, which will bring my ability to hire somebody in America to do it a little closer to feasible. But when the Chinese option goes away, because we're fighting China or whatever, whether it's an economic war, tariff war, all-out war, fucking whatever, you know what I mean? My margin of profit, I'm running neck and neck with China now. China go bye-bye, margins will go up. And when that happens, I got to be able to get my stuff where it's going for sure. So I can't be reliant upon the distribution chain that we have now. Or somebody calls somebody, there's some broker that just puts the stuff on the load board, and some random dude's like, hey, I'll take that, and the carrier, talks to the broker, and then I show up and actually do the work type of deal. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. If your distribution is stopping at your shipping office, and then you're handing it off, whoever's handling your shipping is hiring somebody else to get it to the destination, that's that broker-carrier relationship. And those people are beating you over the head with costs and they're just going to have me come do it. It's like when I was roofing, I was always a subcontractor because I would go to town. I'd find 4 companies that were selling roofs, because between the 4 I could schedule and stay busy every day, and whoever was paying the best had priority because my priority is getting paid. And then my quality was unquestionable. I was trying to make the roof last for 400 years. That was the number I settled on. Like, if this roof will last 400 years, as long as, like, giant rocks and ice fall from the sky, this will turn water until it just, like, deteriorates in the sun. Like, not the manufacturing of the shingles, metal, whatever, but the installation, the part that I touched, I wanted it to last for 400 years. And so that was the quality side. But finding the work and all that kind of stuff, I didn't want to do the paperwork. I didn't want to be responsible for, a lot of the taxes and other BS or whatever like that. So I'd tell these guys, be like, hey, and I just did it. I'm like, they could be like a W-2 guy, and, the cost is $50 a square, but that's what you're actually giving me, and that needs to be after you take taxes out. So whatever you figure the tax burden on this roof is, like, you could, I think it works out to like $59 a square. So the $9 a square, for a 30 square house, that's the tax on my income. You know what I mean? So that's the way that we did that. And I made sure the company paid that. So now here, working here, I make sure the company pays my taxes, because a lot of truck drivers, they get misclassified with this 1099 shit, and they owe $30,000 in taxes at the end of the year. So they'll go lease a truck. The company says where to go, what to do. They give you the keys to the truck. They say, they have it fixed over here. You can't refuse loads. You got to do what they say. And then, like, if you were a company driver, you would get a different check with different numbers. That's it. It's just a different check, one way or the other. But because you're 1099, at the end of the year, you got to pay 100% of the taxes on the whole thing, instead of the company paying half and you paying half. That's, you know what I mean? So they just pass that cost on, and then they'll also pass on the cost of, fixing the truck and stuff like that, because it's a lease. When you give the lease back, it has to be in good condition. So they'll fix every little thing. Like, you'll see on this truck, a couple spots, plastic is held together with zip ties. Well, those panels and parts are thousands of dollars, and there's a little plastic clip where it clips together, and that thing, through vibration and 400,000 miles, cracks and breaks because it's fucking plastic. It's in the 75 mile an hour wind for 2 years, snow and sun and everything, and it's a little old flip flap of plastic. Of course it's going to crack and break. Am I going to pay $3,000 to put new skirt on the side of the truck that has nothing to do with it going down the road other than the way it looks? No. I'm going to drill a hole in this, drill a hole in that, put a zip tie through there, zip tie tight, and it's actually held together better than the little flip-flap of plastic. Okay, well, that's what I would do. That's what anybody would do, except for if you're turning it a lease, and it's got to look perfect. They're going to take that money they took out of your check for maintenance, and they're going to fix every little old thing. So you're down at the end of your lease, and you got this balloon payment for $50,000, and you got $60,000 saved up in this account, and they're going to bust your feet for about $40,000 in repairs before you can pay the truck off. And in that process, you ain't got the money to pay it. They're like, well, you can pay us, or, here's this brand new truck. You're to lease this. But if you were a company driver, they would just put you in the new truck anyway. So they're just transferring the cost over. Okay, so in the real estate game, you go and you buy this house at a tax auction, don't even change the doorknob, and then you just offer it owner finance to somebody and be like, hey, there it is, as is, I'll sell you the house, instead of me fixing it up, be responsible for the maintenance, and then, you know, I got to go in and fix stuff, and they're calling me, and the roof's leaking, blah, blah, or they're, you know, the refrigerator quit, or the well pump is not acting right, septic tank's backed up, whatever, you know what I mean? HVAC system's messed up. Well, if I'm the owner renting it out, I have to fix it. That's the maintenance cost. If I sell it to them owner finance, they own it. So they can fix it or not fix it, whatever they want to do. Don't care. It's theirs. Well, fun fact, everybody moves. Most people move every 7 years. So as long as the payout is like on a 15-year deal or whatever, you know what I mean? And then get away from this amortization theft with the funny numbers and lying, where they tell you it's 10% interest and a $90,000 loan at 10% costs you $150,000. Excuse me, $60,000 is what percentage of $90,000? And then it's front loaded because they know that you're going to move in 7 years. So, you know, you paid for 7 years out of the 10, but you still owe them $50,000. It's like, so I paid you for 7 years, but now I still owe you 50 off the 90. Well, yeah, but the last 50 is going straight to the principal. You got the interest paid off. It's a racket, man. It's a racket. So, and then like, how in the fuck are they taking somebody's property for property tax? Like, there's no tax on unrealized gains. Everybody that's lost the house to tax auction has been robbed by the federal government. It is against the Constitution to charge taxes on unrealized gains. So if my house goes up in value and then you tax me based off of that, that's unrealized gains. I'm not gaining shit owning this property. It's a liability. It's not even an asset. I'm not making no money off this fucking place. It's my homestead. So I live there. I'm not making money off of it, right? Now this other place that I'm, you know, selling owner finance, now every time I get that money, I should be taxed on that because that's income. You know what I mean? That's a big the sale. And then like, who decides how much this house is worth? The guy selling it and the guy buying it negotiate. They come to terms, and you know, it's whatever somebody's willing to pay. That's what it's worth. So for a third party to step in and say, well, we think this one over here is worth this one over there is worth that, so because you're here in the neighborhood, we think this place is worth XYZ. Okay, I can hear you out on that as a private assessment, individual, professional, whatever. Cool. But for the county to go in and change the number for the whole neighborhood so that they can extract more taxes, that's extreme fraud. That is extreme fraud. For real. Like, and it's all across the whole country. And unless I sell the fucking place, I don't owe you shit. I don't owe you fucking shit. It's unrealized gains. If I buy this place at $200,000, it goes to $400,000. And then y'all come along and say it's worth $635,000, and now I go from a tax burden of $2,200 a year to a tax burden of $7,000 a year because y'all's over here pencil whipping the shit. And I got the paperwork where I bought this shit 3 years ago. It became mine. It transferred into my name, which it was kind of mine already. Don't get me wrong, but there's other ways to own property, and nobody knows it's yours. There's ways to hide your property. Look at Walt Disney, and yeah. So anyway, Walt Disney was the champion of I built this city on rock and roll, and nobody knew it. So that's the thing. I got everything in my mama's name. Or whatever. How's that song go? I stay fly. Got a quarter tank of gas in my new E-Class. But I'm not rich. Da-da-da-da. There's a lot of wisdom in the old rap. I don't know about this mush mouth shit they got going on these days, but if you're listening to Tupac and them, they actually, they would say the game's to be sold. So, anyway, I don't know how much of that is like occult darkness and just outright evil. At one point, Tupac said, he said, I got the spirit of a thug in me. He was sing like this. I had a dream. Tupac was popular because he was never mind. Okay, so there's grounds for lawsuit against your local county assessor. Let them send you a bill in the mail. And now it's fraud by mail. When they sell these bonds, the school sells the bonds, and then they do that based off the taxes. And the taxes are fraudulent. So the SEC that's allowing these bonds to happen, to build these schools, which, $100,000 entryway to the school that can't teach your kid how to read. Anyway, it's bad. It's real bad. It's highly illegal. Anyway, I'm about to throw up because I just considered property tax, and I just thought about all the ought that the local schoolhouse teaches the kids, and the indoctrination and the communism. So I'm gonna get off here and just like scream cuss words for a while. And actually, you know what? Let's pray about that. Great Heavenly Father, we just come to you right now. We just cry out, Lord, against this theft of our children as they are pulling them away from you. We cry out to you right now, Father. We just ask, Lord, that you would put the right people in the right place with the right heart and attitude to attack the evil communists and the perverts at the school systems all across America. Father, I pray, Lord, that you will use these people that follow you and these obvious lawsuits that are totally viable to sue the locals, to put them in submission to your will. And I pray, Lord, that you provide a way for them to be taken off the hook so the school stays in business, but the perpetrators go to prison so that they can be repentant and come back to you. And I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. So that's the way we handle business. You know what I mean? I'm going to tell my dad. My dad's bigger than your dad. I feel much better. I went from like seriously angry, freaking grab a sniper rifle, all the way back to, hey, it's probably going to be all right. Just like that. Just that one prayer. Like that was the emotional difference. Like just drain, just brother, kill him. All the way to talking to God, hey, you know what? Hey, God, okay, these are your kids. These adults, let them have a chance at repentance. We love you. My whole innards are lifted up. Like my blood pressure is relaxed. You know what I mean? I've been healed. Like the enemy attacked me with the reality of our shitty world. And then I prayed about it. And God has lifted the burden off of me. So, pro tip for real. Yeah. So, all right. I don't know who that's for, but get out there and sue the shit out of these sons of defiled parents. It's just yucky. Ew. Perverts and taxes. That's pretty gross. The sun comes, it's a new day dawning. It's time to sing your song again. Whatever may pass or whatever lies before me, let me be singing when the evening comes. So bless the Lord, oh my soul, and worship his holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul, I'll worship your holy name. Yes, I will worship your holy name. Raquel, go get 'em.